Hi guys, so today I'm going to show you how to make apple pie. I already have my apples. I peeled them, sliced them, and cored them. I've got them here in the pan. And I have a bowl that I have already pre-measured my 3/4 of a cup of sugar. I have 2 tablespoons of flour in here, 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 a teaspoon of salt, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. And then over my apples I put a tablespoon of lemon juice. So I'm just going to pour this in here. This is just how I shorten the time of the baking of my pie, is I get my apples going first. So I just put that on low and just kind of let that sit, and it will soften up the apples, and it cuts my baking time down by like a good 10-12 minutes. So while that's doing its thing, I'm going to roll out my pie dough. This is the pie crust that I've made a video on already, which I will link in the description down below so that you can see how I make that. So I'm just going to put out some flour. I've already wiped down my counter. Just going to put some flour out, roll this out. So in the video that I made of the pie crust, I separated it into 5 balls, and this is 2 that I put together because the pie dish that I use is quite large. I don't know if you can see it, it's pretty big, so I use 2 of them. If you're using a smaller one, then you would only need to use 1. Okay, so I'm just going to finish rolling this out, and then I'll come back and show you when I finish. Okay, so I did butter my pie dish a little bit there. And I finished rolling out my dough. Pie crust, I keep calling it dough. And looks like I got it big enough. So I'll just put this in my pan here. Okay. I'll just use my knife to cut around the edge here. Oh, and I forgot to mention, in my apples, I use Macintosh apples. I don't know if it matters. It's just the apple that I prefer, so that's the one that I use. Probably did it a little bit too short, but... Alright, so once my apples have gotten softened, I'll be back and I'll put them in my pie dish. So my apples, I started out with pretty soft apples, so I really didn't have to heat them for very long. So that's done, and now I will just put them in my pie dish here. Alright. Okay, so then I will roll out the rest of my pie crust for the top, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've finished rolling out my other piece, and I've cut it into strips here, and I'm just going to do a lattice over the top of my pie. So I've got a bowl that I put some milk in to moisten the sides here so that my crust, or my pie dough, will stick here. Okay, so I'm just going to finish laying these across, and then once I get to the other side, I'll come back. I have them all lined going across this way. Now I'm just going to show you one of going the other way. So I go over this one here, put a little milk on here. So I'm going to start by going over this one, under this one here. Can you see?
Yeah, I'm kind of right there.
Over this one.
There we go.
So you're just weaving them in and out. Like that. And then I attach this one down here. Alright, so after I finish getting these, I'll show you one more. So for this one, I'm going to start going underneath this one. Put a little milk here to get the edge to stick. This one back down. Over this one. Under the next one. So you're just doing like a lattice. And if you started going over, then you go under, over. Just like that. Alright, so I'll go ahead and finish these and then show you once I get to the end. And this is what it looks like when the lattice is all finished. I've preheated my oven to 350 and I will bake this. I will check it in about 30 minutes. Okay, so I just wanted to mention real quick before I put this in the oven that I did crimp the edges. I had left, when you saw it last, it was like this. And I just kind of took them and rolled them around underneath each other just to kind of help the lattice stay. I forgot to mention that part. And I did brush it with whole milk, and I will sprinkle some cinnamon and sugar on the top and then put it in the oven. And I will show you what it looks like when it's finished. Hey guys, so I just took it out of the oven. It's actually still bubbling here. And I checked it in 30 minutes. It was obviously not done. I ended up having to bake it for 70 minutes. This is one of my really large pie dishes, so if you were making a smaller one, I'm sure it would be done in 45 to 60 minutes, but this one did take 70 minutes. And this is what it looks like finished. So I hope you enjoy this recipe. If you give it a try, like, subscribe, and let us know how it turns out if you do try it. Enjoy!